And good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending upon where you are around the world. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist, and you have been authorized, if never before, to love and to love now. And I am bringing you a departure from our normal inbox topics and other topics that are provided to do a tribute, a small tribute of sorts to a former Love and Stuff community member. And I say former, but I guess I should say always in our hearts, Julie Steward, who made her transition, who gained her wings. I had her picture in the background, and I'll show a few um, photos that will include Julie. But if you've been in Love and Stuff, probably around season 2, look, I'm talking like it's a video cast. Around season 2, she started to attend more and started to come live a little and have comments and become a little more vocal, which is just who she was to me. And so I wanted to celebrate her among 3. We have probably lost others in our Love and Stuff community, but 3 of the folks that participated a lot more, Julie is one of them at a point. Of course, I am bringing up our beloved Lynn Shaw, who passed away, who was one of the angels in our Love and Stuff community and was very active behind the scenes and as her health permitted in front of the scenes. Of course, you know, she and I co-authored a book, The 7 Diagnoses to Surviving an Illness, and her survival was on the other side, but that ebook is still available. It's free, and it's in memory of Lynetta Shaw, who we call Lynn Shaw. And then Takara Martin, I think, was the first in our Love and Stuff community, who was, again, one of those passionate responders who left us suddenly and made her transition. And so I am again showing you Julie Steward, who made her transition this week. Thank you, Nicole Baldwin, for just stopping through. I appreciate it and hearing, watching your posts, great things. Bilal Muhammad, thank you. So one of our Inside of Love and Stuffers. And if you haven't joined Inside of Love and Stuff, you should do that tonight and hang tight so I can tell you how to do that. Lori Wesby, who will have firsthand knowledge, of course, of Julie Steward. And I'll talk a little bit about where and how I met her. So if you are watching us on any of these platforms, right here from the Love and Stuff community page, on the Marcus Our Homes page here on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube events, HR Passion Guy, or Twitch TV, HR Passion Guy, I want to thank you for joining us, and I ask you to click share and tag some other folks. And if you're in any or all of the groups that we have tagged, that we are part of, both as Marcus Homes and Love and Stuff, I hope you will click share right now. That's my call to action for you in this first segment. Tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends or YouTube connections or followers or Twitch TV partners, 5 of the more popular ones to join us tonight. We're taking a small detour from our normal inbox and paying a small tribute to the life and legacy of Julie Steward, who was a part of the Love and Stuff community and who made her transition and gained her wings. You know, I don't spend a lot of time telling you a lot about me, but you'll learn more about me if you purchase the Gratefulness Journey every day. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life? But I want to tell you, I have been bivocational, I think, for quite some time, doing human resources and music. And my first job, my first job was at Wendy's, and I worked 2 days. I have to tell that story another time. But my second job was directing the choir at age 15 at the St. Matthew Missionary Baptist Church here in Detroit, Michigan, for the inspirational choir, which was adult voices primarily, but some young adult voices. And me and a friend who I'd known since elementary school, Marcus Bradley, he was the musician and I was the director. And that was our first job. And we actually got paid at 15. That was what I was doing already. And as I continued to do that work, I found a great love among my many loves, and people that have worked with me in music ministry know I love children and young people and seniors. I happen to have a special place in my heart for those age groups. And so being 15, you could really only call me Brother Marcus, or what evolved is Mr. Marcus. Because you see, I thought I was too young to be called Mr. Holmes. That was my dad. And so people called me Mr. Marcus. I would share another time a funny story from one of the dads who came up to me afterwards, maybe a year later after his son was involved in the choir, and said, "You do know that Mr. Marcus is a porn star?" I said, "Hopefully the kids don't know that. And if they ever see Mr. Marcus, the porn star, they will know I am not him." So we had that funny story every time we would see each other. He would laugh. But I'm Mr. Marcus, and I have been for 35 or so years. Brother Marcus to some, but Mr. Marcus to most. And in one of the places that I had the privilege and honor to serve was the Hope United Methodist Church. At the time, it was under the leadership of Dr. Carlisle Fielding Stewart III, and under the leadership still of Alvin B. Waddles III. I think Dr. Stewart is the third and his son's the fourth. I hope I got that right. And what a cadre staff of musicians that I had upon which to lean. But there, like everywhere else I'd gone, you would think you matriculate as you get older into other groups, and I did in most churches, but I was always called to churches to work with the youth, even as I got older. I think people could see my love for them. I love them because you're going to get exactly what they're thinking. They aren't quite as masterful with impressions and deceptions, though some of them have pretty good skills. But most of them, what you see is what you get. And they either like singing or they don't. And if they don't, it's my goal to inspire them to like it. And if they don't, I just keep trying. But it was a time that you would have parents who put their kids in the choir, and the kids could sing, and the kids wanted to sing, which makes a whole big difference. But of course, I am a trooper. I will work to get kids inspired around singing, even if they never had the desire. Thank God for that gift, right? And so at Hope, I had several seasons of young people, which I also love because I'm always getting new kids. I'm always meeting new kids. That I love. And in one of those seasons, I had a young lady named Jayla. And Jayla is Julie's daughter, who I haven't had a chance to speak with since her mom's passing. So if she sees this, this might be fresh for her. And she was kind of a shy, pretty kid. All of my kids were beautiful and pretty. Just in case any of them watch, you're all gorgeous. You know that Mr. Marcus tells you that, and I believe it. But Jayla was a cute kid, and not a kid that was so cute that she knew it. She wasn't one of those kids. She was just a cute kid, but a little on the shy side around about singing at the time. And I remember her mom coming to every practice. And for the first couple of weeks, she stayed for the entire practice. And then after one of the practices, she came up to me and she hugged me. She's a hugger. And she said, "I just couldn't wait to tell you this. Jayla doesn't show you the excitement, but all the way home and during the week, we're talking about the songs and the stuff that you're doing. You're really doing a great job with these kids. They love you." I said, "I love them." I said, "This is such a gift because I love young people." She says, "Well, God be praised for your commitment. I love you already. And now I don't feel like I have to stay for the entire time." She said, "But I'm one of those moms, hands on. I'll be here. I'll do anything you need. I love to be involved where my kids are. I adore my kids. Jayla, she's so smart. And Jayla." And I just beamed because you love to hear parents speak well of their children. And Jayla is graceful. She's learning to dance, and she does this and she does that. I said, "Oh, well, she isn't as excited as I want her to be about singing." She's like, "Because she's a little afraid. She's a little shy." I said, "Oh, well, her personality isn't really shy." I said, "But we're going to work with her because maybe one day I'll get her to sing a solo." She said, "Oh, Mr. Marcus," and she hugs me again. From that point until the last time I spoke with her, Julie was the kind of person who always tried to encourage other people and always tried to be effervescent, tried to be kind. Now, she had an energy that would make you say, Julie, hold on, calm down. But she was always committed to whatever she was doing, and she intended for her children to be committed to whatever they were doing. She would come up and say, Jayla said she wasn't coming to rehearsal today. She didn't feel like it, but I said, hey, no, we commit to something, we see it through. And I told her we're going to be there. And I stayed a little longer just to make sure she wasn't going to try to sneak out on you. I said, no, they don't get to sneak out on me. She said, well, I just want to stick around because I want Jayla to know that if we commit to something, we're going to put our whole heart in it. We're going to serve God with everything we have. And that was Julie Steward. And she would come up to me after they would sing and she would hug me and say, oh my goodness, you had a small group today, but they sound like a million people up there. And it was just fantastic. And I love that song. It was just so fitting. It fit with the service. How did you plan that? She was just always encouraging. I know toward the latter parts of her years that there were some tough circumstances and situations that she faced. And she faced them and shared some pretty intimate things with me. She faced them with courage. And she faced them not always wanting to, as you and I, but she stood up to face those challenges, including, relationship woes and the loss of loved ones, her dad, and different things that she experienced, but she continued to persevere. And every time something good happened with Jayla or Maurice, she would say, let me tell you what they did. Let me tell you what they're doing. And I thank God for Julie Steward. I'm thankful as Love and Stuff began to evolve. And she said, I didn't know you were doing all of this. This is amazing. But that's her way. And she inboxed me and said, what about this topic? And I love it because if I didn't use the topic, the next week she'll say, now, did you forget about this topic? She would give topics in the inbox and she would follow up to see, she'd go back if she wasn't able to watch it that day, go back and watch the show and say, that was some good advice. I'm going to tell my girlfriend, I'm going to tell this person the good advice, that people are sharing from these inbox conversations. And I so appreciated her spirit. She was a spirited person. And I want to share just a couple of quick things I think that I gleaned from her that I would love to share with you. And as I prepare to do that, I just want to double back to see. Thank you, Autumn Nicole Holmes, for joining us, Lena Brown, Stacy Jones, Evelyn Graham, Laura Michelle Buchanan, Corey Mildred King from Covington, Georgia. All of you that are joining us, I hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends or connections, 5 of your more popular ones to join in this tribute to Julie Steward, a member of our Love and Stuff community who gained her wings. And so I wanted to pause, take a detour from what we typically do. And I think it's important, and I hope that you will do this. We've been talking about self-care, and we're going to continue more discussion about self-care as you get on a journey of loving yourself more. And I too join you in that journey and loving myself more. I've been posting quite a bit, and some people said, my goodness, a lot of people that I happen to know of or know a lot of people, but a lot of people in the season have passed away. And I've been posting almost, it seems like every day or every other day, some loss of someone that I've known and some that I've cherished and had the chance to know well. And all of that, not being able to fully embrace families and walk with them in this journey can take a toll on you. And I want you, if you haven't over this pandemic, to take some time to just take some moments to get off the grid, take some moments to just take some deep clarifying breaths. Inhale through your nose, count 4 seconds, hold it for 10 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. I do a little different than the 4, 7, 8 that's known. I say you hold that breath for 10 seconds and then exhale to 8 seconds. And do 3 of those. I call them clarifying breaths because they send a load of oxygen to your brain and they tell your limbic system and your body that you're not in fight or flight. You're not in survival mode. Okay? So then you can think better, process better when you're not in survival mode. And grieving, believe it or not, puts you in survival mode. It puts you in survival mode because you're wondering about your mortality, the mortality of others around you. Despair can set in, depression can set in, and sometimes with despair and depression, we can make bad decisions sporadically. So I want to just tell you, if you have experienced this tsunami of grief and loss, this is not the time to make a decision. The meridian, there's a meridian happening, I'm told, but this is not the time to make rash decisions. Don't do that. Okay? Do clarifying breaths before you're going to make a life-changing decision so that you make sure you're not in desperation mode. Okay? And I want to invite you to do that, to take a break from the beaten path, as it were. So if you are humping to get deadlines to finish a project under budget or in budget, you're humping to finish planning your wedding or finish planning the wedding of someone else, you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get all your clients booked, you're trying to close that deal with the client, you are trying to concentrate on your next move with your staff, some corrective action is before you. I want you to take 3 clarifying breaths so that you can tell yourself, I'm taking a detour and I'm okay. Okay? And so I think that is important. That's why I wanted to take a detour, because of the amount of loss. We mentioned our other angels in our community that we've experienced their loss as well. So I want to share these 3 things that I think I gleaned from Julie Steward, who loved her children. These are her children, Jayla, who was in the choir, and Maurice, her son. And she loved her children. Her children meant the world to her. And she was a fierce Shira mom, going to their defense, playing the offense on their behalf, ensuring that they were involved, ensuring that they had the opportunity to participate, ensuring they knew the value of a Christian community, of fellowship. She loved her children, and she tried to model before them a behavior such that a productive citizen and adult would demonstrate. So if I could share from her life, one of the things I would say, if you have children, love them. And I don't care if you think that they're wrong. They absolutely may be wrong. No one is perfect, including our children, and they couldn't be perfect because they came from us, and we're not perfect. But love your children, whether your children are wayward or if your children are angels. If your children seem to stray away and be rebellious on things that you try to teach them, or if they're right lockstep with you in fulfilling the promises, whether they have addictions and struggles and challenges, or whether they're soaring over them, love your children. And if you are able, hug them today. Hug them today and say, there was a mom named Julie Steward. I'm hugging you in the spirit of Julie Steward, who loved her children. Hug your children today and tell them, I'm loving you in the spirit of Julie Steward today and the legacy of Julie Steward. And I'm just going to smother you with love. I'm going to envelop you with love. I'll use that word. Thank you, Nicole Harris in Damari Burns for joining us, and Vanita Smith. Click, share, and tag some folks to join us in this discussion. I am just celebrating the life of Julie Steward, who was a member of our Love and Stuff community and who gained her wings. Lesson number one that I think among many lessons we could get from her life, but three of the lessons that stand out to me that I really want to share with you. Love your children. Okay, that's lesson number one. Lesson number two that I want to share with you, that I believe Julie Steward would share with you, I believe that she lived this, is love your God. And I say your God because I believe there is one true God, but I understand that people worship gods, that people worship their own God. And I'm not actually here to make a commentary on your God, whether or not your God is the God to worship. I pray that you are on a path of love. And if love is calling, and I believe he is, he will make clear who he is to you. If you but ask him, who art thou? Who is this love that Marcus Holmes, the love activist, keeps talking about? Reveal yourself to me. Show yourself to me. If you pray that from the earnest of your heart, I have no doubt that God, who is love, will show you who he is. He's been writing love chapters about you for a long time, and he will reveal that to you plainly for you to make a decision if he is your God. To say this God is our God forever. The goosebumps on my neck are raising because this God, that's my God, I would love for him to be your God. But I believe that in your journey of being awakened to love, that love is speaking to you. There's a song that says, love is calling, constantly speaking to your heart. Won't you listen? Please listen. But the joy I have, I'm telling you it's joy, is that I believe that God will lead you into truth. If you would ask him, who is this God that Marcus is talking about? Reveal yourself. Show me. If I were a gambler, I would bet and say he will. And so Julie Steward loved her God. And she was unashamed of that love. Unashamed of that love. With her resources, with her devotion, with her adoration, her praise, with her evangelism, she loved God. So I submit to you, as I seek to honor her legacy and invite you to, that she would say, love your God, who you with, who you're rocking with. Love who you're rocking with. Love your God with all that you have. And I watched her do that through tough times and through tough decisions. I think she would tell you, not a perfect person, but perfect in her pursuit of that love. And so that number two, I would say, love your God. Julie Steward, I believe, would tell you that as a number two. Number three, that I think Julie Steward would tell you, is love your family. Here Julie is pictured with her dad. And I can tell you that I've had quite a number of conversations with her, some of them just inbox, some of them on the phone, some of them in person. And Julie would almost without fail talk about her dad. I didn't get that the relationship was always perfect, as very few are. but she loved her dad, which is part of family. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute because we're going into a holiday season, which is a lot of times celebrated with family. A lot of times, Thanksgiving is filled with family, Christmas is filled with family. And because of the pandemic, people haven't gotten together, and maybe they won't again, some people, to be safe, where there are states where numbers are surging again before the holiday. Some people may decide not to get together or to gather a little more sparingly. And if either of those are your case or not at all, love your family. Is there a cousin, an uncle, a brother, a mother, a father, a sister, an aunt, an auntie that you have aught against or who has aught against you? All those years ago, that thing that happened that you all are holding on to and you really don't still know all of the details, is it time to love beyond that? Now, you can love your family from a distance for people who have no desire to change their behaviors that have hurt you, and you're not at a place where you can forgive them. But forgiveness really empowers you. I know you've heard this 1,000 times. It's like uh, not forgiving someone said it's like you drinking the poison and looking for the other person to show the symptoms and die, right? But I want to challenge you. I almost said commission you because I'm authorized by love. I want to challenge you to love your family. It isn't always easy because we're imperfect trying to love them, and they're imperfect trying to love us. And sometimes we're not as forgiving as we should be when people have wronged us. That's tough. But I think if Julie could speak, she would say, love your family. Love your dad because you only get one. When her father passed, her heart was so broken because you only get one. If you've experienced the loss of a parent or a child or a sibling, you understand. You only get that person once. And all of the I shoulda, I wish I had, I coulda, oh my goodness, all of that you can't recapture because it's a part of the time. Love your family. That's a lesson that I know that she would share with you. Those are the top 3 lessons I know she would share. I know another lesson that I didn't list out as one of the top lessons. I wanted these lessons of love for love and stuff. But another lesson that I think she would model before you and modeled before me is stand up for something. Stand up for what you believe in. And if you learn that you're wrong, self-correct, and then stand up for what you should have stood up for. See, I watched her be a fierce advocate for a number of causes and taking a stand. You know, you might meet some people in your life and they'll wait to see what other people are going to do before they come out with their opinion or come out with their stance. They're waiting to see how this person's going to respond and how that person's going to respond. Not Julie Steward. If she firmly believed that the right side was the right side to be on, she stood up and said, we're on the right side. Who's with me on the right side? Oh no, I'm standing for what's right. And I'm not going to wait. I need people to know where I stand. That was Julie Steward. And if I had as a fiduciary, if I could bequeath that on her behalf to you, I would say, stand up Stand in the courage of your convictions and make it clear where you stand, who you stand for. Because Julie Steward did. And she would say, "What side are you on? I'd like to hear from you. What do you think?" She wanted to know where you stood and whether or not you were going to stand firm. And she would encourage you to say, "Speak it up. Now, if that's what you believe, I think you should stand up and say what you believe. I think you should be heard. Let's hear from him. Let's hear from her." She believed in taking a stand. And sometimes, as there are often critics who will say, "Sit down. What you talking about now?" She said, "Well, before I sit down, I just want you to know where I stand. I stand for this. I stand for righteousness. I stand for treating people right. I stand for this. Where do you stand? You should stand for right." She wasn't the person that was just going to look at the lay of the land. Okay, it's 5 over there, it's 3 over there. Let me see if I can even out. No, I'm standing for right, even if I'm standing alone. That was Julie Steward. And if I were a fiduciary of character traits that I could bequeath to you, Love and Stuff, from your fellow Love and Stuff community member who's gained her wings, Julie Steward, I would say stand up for something. Whatever it is, stand up for your marriage. Even when your spouse doesn't. Say, "Oh, no, we in this to win this. We in this to finish this. This is until heaven takes us home. I'm going to stand up." Husband, wife, what do you believe in? Do you believe in marriage? Do you believe in this marriage? Do you believe it's stronger than any hoochie honey, boo or bae that's trying to come on the side? Stand up for your marriage. Stand up for your school system. Even if you don't have children in it any longer, stand up and say, "We need books, and we need good teachers, and we need uniforms, and we need resources, tools, iPads, whatever we need." Stand up if you believe in education, public education, private education. Stand up if you believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ or the gospel of Muhammad. I believe in the former. Stand up for what you believe in and make it clear to those that are around that you're standing for what you believe in. And like Julie, if you find out that there's something wrong with what you believe in after you continue to research it, stand in your truth and correct it and say, "No, this is my corrected opinion. This is where I stand." She wasn't afraid to do that. "I stand corrected. I thought it was this. So let me tell you what my position is now." Stand for what you believe in. Whomever it is, whatsoever it is, stand up so that those around will see what your commitment is to the things that you believe in and are committed to. That was Julie Steward. And that's why we honor her here in this Love and Stuff community as a fellow member of our Love and Stuff community who's gained her wings. She would say, "Stand up for what you believe." And I'll go a step further at 908 that she would say, "Fight for it." Fight for what you believe. Fight for what you believe. I'm not the prophet of love, but I tell you this. If you have a marriage or a relationship and you believe in it, fight for it. No sense in believing in something and sitting on it because other limiting voices and limiting language is telling you what's this relationship's end. Fight for it. You believe that you are qualified for that promotion, apply for it and fight for it. Stand up for what you believe and then be willing to fight for it. And that would be in the spirit, in the legacy and memory of Julie Steward. I think Julie would tell you, I hope I'm not perfect. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy. She would say that. But you know what? I love God and I love my family. And that I know. I might not know everything, Mr. Marcus, but that I know. And that's enough for me to get through this day. She believed in what she believed. Think about how different our life would be if we made, as a part of our Constitution, the foundation upon which our heart sits. If we made that Constitution resolute on the things that we believe, and we said, I'm not going to waver on what I believe. It's not easy. That's tough because there are all of these voices telling you what you can't do, how you didn't do it before, how you're not cut out to do it, right? All of these voices telling you, you don't really believe that, do you? Why do you believe that? All of these voices, dissenting voices that we must speak back to and say, I believe, and finish the phrase with whatever it is that we believe in. We have to believe. And I think, again, if Julie could bequeath that to you, I certainly, as a agent of the estate of her character, you see, I would bequeath that to you on her behalf. Her will would say, give away this part of my character to anybody who would receive it, to have an indomitable spirit to fight for what you believe in. And Marcus, as the executor of my character estate, please pass this out as broadly and widely as you can to whomever you can, to tell them, stand firmly on what you believe. I would be signing the check to you today on behalf of Julie Steward, so that you believe in what you believe. And hopefully in that belief of what you believe in you. You must believe that you can. You must believe that you will. And then, as I posted, move this from your mind account to your do account so that it can be transferred into your bank account, right? But you must believe. You must mind it. You must will it before you execute it. You must be it before you do it. You must connect to the providence that is God and get into your be-ness, because we are married to our do-ness. We meet people and say, what do you do? We don't say, what do you be? Right? That ain't even good English, right? But we say, what do you do? What do you do for a living? And we find out what people do for a living, and we ascribe some worth or value to what they do. Oh, you must have a master's to do that. You're a doctor, you must have a doctorate. You must have gone to medical school. You're a lawyer, you must have gone to law school. You're the CEO, you must have been with the company, or you must be really savvy. We ascribe these values to the individual because of what they do without knowing what they be. Who are you? What do you believe? And how do you practice what you believe? How does what you practice align with what you say you believe? Right? We get to know what people do and what they drive and what they wear and what they like. But who are you? And are you somebody I can believe in because you believe in you? Are you fully confident in who you are without any of the accoutrements, without any of the accessories? Are you fully engaged in the power of you because you believe it? You must stand on what you believe. And yes, my friends, sometimes that means standing on yourself, by yourself, with the firmest foundation of your God. You must believe. I believe Julie Steward would be telling you that. And she would be jumping up and down in her little curls, as long as she could hold those curls in, would be bouncing up and down, because she would be so excited to tell you that you should believe. and what you believe in, you should be willing to fight for. Now, I don't necessarily want you to leave out of here and say, now, Marcus knew this woman named Julie, and she said, let me pick a fight. Let me find a good fight. There is good trouble, bless the memory of John Lewis. But what I want you to hear is be willing to fight for it. Be willing to sacrifice for it. Be willing to give up for it. Be willing not to acquiesce for it, right? Give up some things that you want and not give up the principle so that it stands, right? Fight for it. Now, fight could be fisticuffs, but fight might be fight with your money. Who are you supporting in your local elections and why? Fight with your money. What businesses are you supporting and why? And what businesses aren't you supporting and why? And what businesses haven't you searched out that are in your community and why aren't you supporting them? Believe with your money. Fight with your money and say, no, no, no. I'm not going to take my money X place. I'm going to take my money Y place. Because why? Because it's in my neighborhood. Why? Because they hire people that look like me. I want the dollars to circulate. Fight with your money. Fight with your voice. Fight with your vote. Not just in the presidential election. Not just in the gubernatorial election. Fight with your vote for the mayor that you think should be running your city. For the city council people that should be leading with integrity. Fight with your voice, your vote, your presence at community meetings to be engaged. Fight. Fight with your beliefs, organized or otherwise. Espouse your Christian values broadly, if it's Christian or Muslim values broadly, Jewish values broadly. Fight with how you live out your faith. All of these things, I know that Julie Steward would share with you. Thank you, Tamika Edwards and Tanya Taylor, for joining us. I hope you will click share. I am just paying tribute to one of the Love and Stuff community members who made her transition, Julie Steward, who was a very vocal and valued member of our community for a number of seasons and gave many inbox topics. And she will be sorely missed. She leaves among those that love her a son, Maurice, and daughter, Jayla, pictured here with her. And our hearts go out to them and their family in this great loss. Julie was a great soul. And I shared a couple of lessons that I think that she would share with you if I said, okay, Julie, I'm turning the mic on, go. And she would, by this point, be like, okay, now I done talked a lot. Should I talk some more? Because I got some more to say. She was full of life and full of energy and full of plenty to say. She had the gift of gab just as anybody that I know, I think. And I loved it because she would remind herself, okay, I've been talking a long time. Should you say something? Because I've been saying a lot. Let me stop talking. She had a wonderful heart and spirit. She had some funny, quirky ways about her, which made her even more lovable. And again, what stands out to me is her love for her children. I can't express it enough. There are thousands, at least in Michigan, of children, tens of thousands, I understand, of children in the foster care system. Tens of thousands of children. I don't know about the other states. I could get numbers. Children, kids need our love. And Julie is a fitting example of a mom who loved her children. And I think that you can walk away from that and say, boy, I'm sorry for Love and Stuff's loss. I'm sorry for the loss of Empowerment Church in Southfield, their loss. She's a member there, or was a member there. I'm sorry for her children for their loss. You could mark the loss, or you could say, hey, he said some things about Julie that I can implement in my own life. And in her memory and her legacy, as a tribute to her, I'm going to love my children more and love those extended children that are extended to my home, children who are friends of my children who will call me mom or dad, right? Children who are in your neighborhood who might call you mom or dad or unc, right? Or TT, auntie. Those children who see you as a maternal or paternal figure, as a matriarch or patriarchal figure. I'm going to love them more because I heard the story of a Julie Steward who loves her children and loves them whether they're right or wrong, if she agrees with their journey or not. She's going to pray more for them if she doesn't agree with it, but she's going to love them still. A fierce Shira for her children. And I believe that is something that we all can implement more. Sure, you love your children. I hope. I know there are some people that, saying, hey, haven't talked to mine in some time. Well, here's the thing. You should talk to them because you do not ever know when you will not be able to talk to them again. So if you are at odds with any of your children, or perhaps all, ask yourself, would I want today to be my last day knowing that I don't have relationship with those children? See, I believe that your answer would be, no, I don't want this to be my last day. I would want to have a good relationship with them. I wouldn't want to cry at their funeral, them cry at mine, saying, I wish I could have said that. The only way to cure that is to do it now. And in the great spirit of Julie Steward, who loved her children, love yours. Love somebody else's who you regard as yours. I'm so grateful and thankful. Thank you, Eunice Hunter. Thank you, Coach Pam Bass, for joining us. I hope you will click, share, and tag some other folks. We're coming to 9:22, but I'm so grateful. Excuse me. And so thankful that the Love and Stuff community over these 4 years, and I certainly wanted to grow, and go higher, deeper. But it's been an awesome pleasure and privilege to have the Love and Stuff community over these past 4 years. And some of the wonderful people that I've met and or been connected to, and in some instances reconnected to. It's a loving opportunity, not an opportunity where everybody agrees. No. And there are even some that may go toe to toe and fall out. There are some that have been in intimate relationship and broke up. But what I love is it's the opportunity for you to practice love in the hopes to perfect love, not to become perfect, but that love through you might be perfected, that it might accomplish and do for others what it is set to do for them, and that the return might be a groundswell to you. Because if you go about love's business and you go about giving love, it's going to come back to you in ways that you cannot measure. Go about the business of love, and you're going to be repaid in ways not exactly when you had planned either, might I add. You might have been looking for love on Christmas and it comes showing up on March 1st. But love will find you if you find your hands to love, your hands to giving and being a demonstration of love in this earth. And that's what I've experienced in the Love and Stuff community in other places, but in the Love and Stuff community in this last 4 years. And Julie Steward was a part of that. And that's one of the reasons we celebrate her memory today. Bless her memory. I will miss her. I had not seen her for a while or talked to her for a little bit. Periodically, she would inbox me just to check in. And again, as I mentioned earlier, whenever Jayla was doing something or Maurice was doing something great, she made sure that she either tagged me or inboxed me and said, "Oh, did you see this post? Did you see this picture? Did you see? Did you see?" She was so proud of them, so happy that they were becoming well-adjusted adults. I too am proud. I'm proud that I had an opportunity to meet a mother who loves her children, a daughter who adored her dad, a woman who loved her God, a Shira who stood up for what she believed in and was willing to fight for it. And those fitting examples, my friends in love, are ones that I hope that I can bequeath to you. If I am the executor of her character estate, I bequeath to you and authorize you to love now and love well and love deeply, because love is the order of the day. I know there are missionaries that have been kidnapped. I know that there are people that have been killed. I know that there is a couple that was killed in a car with their baby in the car here in Detroit. I know that there is murder and mayhem everywhere. I know that there are lawsuits about the riot that happened on January 6th. I know. And I still submit that love is the order of the day. And if you and I get about the business of loving more than we're doing these other things, you see, the groundswell of blessings and favor that will come back to us will be immeasurable. Now, I want to just harken back to something I said earlier. Maybe you couldn't really relate to the third point that I was sharing with you, lesson that I learned from Julie, about Julie, that I shared with you. Love your God. I just want to share this with you. I just want to reemphasize this. I know that there is more than one God, but I invite you to ask God, the creator, the universe, ask him, who are you that Marcus talked about on Tuesday, October 19th, saying Julie Steward's God and his God? Who are you? Show yourself to me. Show me who you are. I want to meet you. I want to know who you are. I want to know if you're the real thing. I believe that this God, Julie's God, the love activist God, will show himself to you if you ask in earnest. And he will still give you the option to love him and serve him. You can choose another God if you want to, but if you ask God to show himself to you, he will, in a plain way, in a clear way, that you will know it is the I am that I am. It is he who has been writing love chapters about you for centuries, who knows the plans he has for you, who cares for you more than the sparrow and all of its beautiful array, who sees before you to provide for you. Just ask him, who are you? Show yourself to me, and watch love spring forth like a desert that has a well of water shooting up from the middle. You will see him clearly. He will be waters of refreshing to you if you but ask him. I respect and honor that everyone in the Love and Stuff community does not all have the same faith. But I'm speaking to those of you who believe that third point, you just can't relate to it because you don't have a God to love. You're not sure about loving a God. I respect and acknowledge that. And I'm speaking directly to you. I invite you to ask God to show himself to you. This God that the love activist that Marcus Holmes, that Julie Steward, bless her memory, talked about. Show yourself to me. Just show me who you are. And I know love will show up. It's 9:30, and I am thankful that you've joined us in this tribute. I am going to again close with Julie's picture as the background as we go to a close. I hope that you will go to the Love and Stuff community page here on Facebook. Under groups, there's a new group that I want you to join. It's called Inside of Love and Stuff. There, you will get the opportunity to meet the people in the Love and Stuff community. And pretty soon we'll be having our first event just before Thanksgiving, where you can come into the messenger room and meet all of the people that are in Love and Stuff, connect with them one-on-one, and have the opportunity to build and grow relationships with the real people that are behind the scenes, not just on Tuesday at 8:30, though we invite you here every week, but who throughout the week are behind the scenes. I also want to invite you, while you're there, to look up Sports Talk with Felix and Kamau and Felix, which is our newest newest video cast. And you'll find out more information there about the things that are to come. We have 2 more video casts that will be coming your way. We are evolving into a love network, and we love. And it's not so much that we've mastered love. I'm not the master of love. That's God. But I hear the clarion call on my life and the life of others to increase the amount of love in the world. If you haven't already, click that bell at the top so that you can be notified when we go live and you can participate. And we'll be back next week with more topics from the inbox that you can chime in on, hopefully to give your perspective and gain perspective of how to increase the love that comes from God to self and to others. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks again for joining us.